Imagine a filming day that began with excitement but suddenly turned into one of the most unforgettable moments anyone on set had ever experienced. Stay until the very end because every chapter reveals another emotional twist that will leave you wondering what happened next. If you enjoy imaginative stories inspired by your favorite stars, be sure to share your thoughts after reading. The morning sun had barely risen when the enormous filming studio slowly came to life. Crew members hurried from one department to another carrying lighting equipment, carefully arranging cameras, and making final adjustments before another important day of production officially began. Costume designers moved quickly through the dressing rooms. Makeup artists carefully prepared every detail. Assistant directors reviewed shooting schedules while producers quietly discussed the day's ambitious filming plan. Everything appeared perfectly organized. Everything felt ready. Inside the makeup room, Zhang Linghe quietly studied his script while occasionally rehearsing important dialogue beneath his breath. Across the hallway, Tian Xiwei greeted everyone with her usual cheerful smile, bringing positive energy that immediately brightened the atmosphere. She laughed with the makeup artists. She thanked every staff member personally. She even joked with several crew members waiting outside the costume department. Nobody imagined that only a short time later, the entire production would unexpectedly come to a complete stop. The first few scenes progressed beautifully. Every performance flowed naturally. The director smiled with satisfaction after several excellent takes. Even experienced crew members commented that the chemistry between the cast felt stronger than ever before. Everyone believed the day would finish ahead of schedule. Then, everything suddenly changed. During preparation for one particularly demanding emotional sequence, Tian Xiwei quietly paused. At first, nobody noticed anything unusual. Several people assumed she was simply concentrating before the next take. She smiled politely and assured everyone she was fine. Filming continued. Moments later, however, members of the crew noticed that she appeared noticeably uncomfortable. Her assistant immediately walked toward her. The makeup team quickly offered a chair. The atmosphere slowly shifted from excitement to concern. Conversations stopped almost instantly. The director quietly lowered his headset. Cameras remained perfectly still. The once energetic film set suddenly became completely silent. Standing only a few steps away, Zhang Linghe immediately noticed that something was not right. Without waiting for instructions, he calmly walked toward Tian Xiwei to make sure she was comfortable. His expression reflected genuine concern. The director quickly announced a temporary filming pause. Nobody complained. Nobody questioned the decision. The entire production understood that people always come before schedules. Medical staff assigned to the production immediately arrived to perform a routine assessment. Meanwhile, everyone respectfully stepped back to allow Tian Xiwei privacy. The usually busy filming location became surprisingly quiet. Assistant directors postponed upcoming scenes. Lighting technicians switched off several large studio lights to create a calmer environment. Crew members quietly waited for updates while hoping everything would soon return to normal. In this story, Zhang Linghe remained nearby throughout the entire situation. Rather than returning to his dressing room, he chose to stay close, offering quiet encouragement whenever possible. Several colleagues later remarked how calmly he handled the unexpected interruption. Instead of allowing anxiety to spread throughout the set, his composed attitude helped everyone remain optimistic. Minutes felt much longer than usual. Every passing moment increased everyone's curiosity. Producers quietly discussed possible adjustments to the shooting schedule. Some scenes could be postponed. Others might be filmed later in the week. Nobody cared about delays. Everyone shared only one hope, that Tian Xiwei would feel completely comfortable again. Eventually, reassuring news began reaching the waiting crew. The situation appeared far less serious than everyone had initially feared. Medical staff recommended additional rest before returning to work. The director immediately agreed, without hesitation. No further discussion was necessary. Health and well-being would always remain the highest priority. As relief spread across the production, quiet smiles slowly returned to everyone's faces. Several cast members gathered nearby to offer warm words of encouragement. Crew members applauded softly when Tian Xiwei smiled and thanked everyone for their kindness. The emotional moment reminded everyone how closely connected the entire production had become. Although they worked together professionally, they had also become a supportive family. Later that afternoon, Zhang Linghe quietly approached the director. According to this story, he made a simple request. He suggested postponing his own remaining scenes until Tian Xiwei felt fully comfortable returning to filming. The director looked at him for several seconds before nodding with quiet appreciation. Sometimes true professionalism means understanding when work should wait. Sometimes kindness becomes the most important performance anyone can give. As the sun slowly disappeared beyond the studio windows, filming officially ended much earlier than originally planned. Instead of disappointment, everyone left carrying a renewed appreciation for one another. They realized that behind every successful drama stood not only talented performers, but also genuine friendships, mutual respect, and people willing to support one another through unexpected moments. No dramatic headlines were needed. No grand speeches were given. Only quiet gratitude filled the set as everyone looked forward to returning together another day. Little did anyone know that this unexpected interruption would become one of the most unforgettable memories of the entire fictional production. And for Zhang Linghe, one important lesson remained forever. No schedule, no scene, no production deadline would ever matter more than making sure the people beside you were truly okay. The story, however, was only beginning. As the unexpected interruption brought filming to a complete halt, the once energetic studio became unusually quiet. The director calmly instructed everyone to remain patient while the production team worked to understand exactly what had happened. No one rushed. No one panicked. The entire cast and crew simply waited together, hoping the situation would be resolved as quickly as possible. Several technicians hurried toward the main filming area after discovering that one of the large camera systems and lighting rigs had suddenly malfunctioned during preparation for the next important sequence. The director immediately made a decision. Filming would remain paused until every piece of equipment had been carefully inspected. Safety would always come before schedules. The announcement was met with complete understanding from everyone on set. Although disappointed that production had stopped, nobody questioned the decision. Meanwhile, Zhang Linghe quietly looked around the studio. The silence felt unusual. Only a few minutes earlier, the entire building had been filled with laughter, rehearsals, and constant movement. Now, everyone stood patiently waiting for updates. Tian Xiwei smiled reassuringly at nearby crew members, encouraging everyone not to worry because these unexpected moments were simply part of filmmaking. Her calm attitude immediately helped ease the atmosphere. Instead of allowing frustration to spread, she thanked the production staff for reacting so quickly. Several crew members smiled after hearing her words. Moments like these reminded everyone why teamwork mattered so much. As engineers carefully inspected every camera, cable, and lighting system, the director gathered the principal cast together. Rather than wasting valuable time, he suggested using the unexpected break to rehearse several emotional scenes that would be filmed later in the week. Everyone agreed immediately. The rehearsal room soon became alive once again. Without cameras, without bright lights, without pressure. Only scripts, imagination, and dedication. Zhang Linghe stood opposite Tian Xiwei as they quietly began practicing one of the drama's most emotional conversations. Each rehearsal became more natural than the last. The director occasionally stopped them to offer small adjustments. Speak more softly. Hold the silence a little longer. Let your expression tell the story before the dialogue begins. Every suggestion made the performance even stronger. Crew members watching nearby quietly exchanged impressed glances. Although filming had stopped unexpectedly, something remarkable was happening. The interruption had created an opportunity for the cast to deepen their performances even further. Hours passed surprisingly quickly. Outside the rehearsal room, technicians finally announced encouraging news. The equipment problem had been completely resolved. Every camera had been tested. Every lighting system had been checked again. Production could safely continue. When the announcement reached the rehearsal room, spontaneous applause broke out among the crew. Everyone smiled. Relief spread throughout the studio. The director laughed gently before thanking every department for their patience and professionalism. He admitted that although the interruption had delayed the schedule, the rehearsals had actually strengthened several important scenes. Sometimes unexpected delays produce unexpected improvements. As evening approached, the cameras rolled once again. The first scene filmed after the interruption immediately amazed everyone. The emotional connection between Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei felt even stronger than during the morning rehearsals. The director watched the playback carefully. He smiled. Without asking for another take, he quietly said something that surprised the entire production. Sometimes the best performances appear when life forces everyone to slow down. Those simple words stayed with everyone. The unexpected interruption had transformed what seemed like a difficult day into one of the most memorable filming experiences of the entire production. As the final scene wrapped late that evening, cast and crew applauded one another before leaving the studio. Nobody focused on the delay anymore. Instead, everyone remembered how patience, teamwork, and mutual respect had helped turn an ordinary challenge into an unforgettable success. Little did they know that an even bigger surprise awaited them the following morning, one that would leave the entire production completely speechless and change the story forever.